Africa. You know that KwaZulu-Natal is the place where the herbal medicine industry has its roots. Hopefully, someday, when people want a particular herb that they cannot find elsewhere, an inventory will be opened up here in Imo State, where people can then source for the herbs and spices that they will not use not only for health, but for business. Let me join Professor Prosper in welcoming all of you. This is what HerbFEST is all about. Welcome to HerbFEST 2020.
Thank you very much, Prof. Please, a better round of applause for him. While he was speaking, the representative of the chairman of Imo State Traditional Rulers Council, His Majesty Ezo Isi Okeke walked in, and he's being represented by His Royal Highness Eze Dr. Lucky Okoro. He's the secretary of the Traditional Rulers Council in Imo State. Oh, yes, a no, sir. There's a brief welcome, sir. The Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Already, you know, we are talking about plants. So you can't take Minister of Agriculture out of what we are doing today. Dr. Bati Okorochukwu is also in our midst. You're welcome, sir. We have the representative of the Assistant Director Benin, Nigeria. He has his BSc and MSc in Botany from the University of Benin and University of Lagos. He also has a PhD in biosystematics from the University of Benin as well. He joined the Federal Ministry of Technology, Yola, as an assistant lecturer, and the University of Benin as lecturer 1. Please, I'm going to take an abridged version of his citation because it's too long. He rose through academic and administrative ranks to the position of full professor in 2002. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite Professor Mark Donald Idu, the key speaker, the keynote speaker in this occasion today, to present his lecture on the healing plants of Africa.
Good morning. His Excellency, the Governor of Imo State, Deputy Governor, Secretary to the Governor, the Commissioners here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I be allowed to stand on existing protocol. I'm indeed honored to be invited to talk on the topic today. I want to appreciate my senior brother. Both of them are so good to me. I will always acknowledge them anywhere I go. Professor Sokumba and Professor Iwu. We used to make fun in my office. Professor M.I. is his name. My own name is M.I. Iwu is I.W.U. Idu is I.D.U. And, you know, we used to create similarities. I have very little time, and I would just want to move on to share with you some of my thoughts on the topic today, the healing plants of Africa. I want to start like this. Healing plants of Africa. While it's common for us to discuss Africa as a whole, it is important to remember that Africa is the second largest continent in our planet, with more than 50 sovereign nations. Africa is also split by the equator, the prime meridian, meaning that it's the only continent that sits in all four hemispheres, and it stretches across both the north and the south temperate zones of the earth. Before colonialism, Africa used herbal medicine solely as their means of health, or for healing. As colonial rule took hold during classical antiquity and later on during the European colonialism, ancient African healing methods went through a massive assault in favor of foreign medical treatments. During this time, Africa continued to practice traditional medicine for hundreds of years, but this happened mostly in secrecy or with great discretion. The traditional medicine program of the World Health Organization defines traditional medicine as the sum total of all knowledge and practice, whether explicable or inexplicable, used in diagnosis, prevention, and elimination of physical, mental, or social imbalance, and relying exclusively on practical experiences and observation handed down from generation to generation, whether verbally or in written forms. Traditional, or what we might also refer to as herbal medicine, is an evolutionary process as communities and individuals continue to discover new techniques that can transform this practice in the field of medical sciences. I may go to say that traditional medicine and drug discovery using natural products is still an important issue in the current target-rich lead-poor scenario. First choice of our home treatment for nearly 2/3 of our children, especially those of them with high fever, not forgetting those with malaria, just as Professor Ewu mentioned not too long ago. The new health agenda in Africa focuses on the industrialization of traditional medicine in parallel with orthodox medicine into the natural healthcare scheme in order to move the health agenda forward, since effective health cannot be achieved parcel of something synonymous or sometimes synonymous with African traditional medicine. It is the oldest and still the most widely used system of medicine in the world today. It is used in all societies and is common to all cultures. So it has to do with the society itself and then the culture of the people. Whole plants, part of plants, or other plant materials, including leaves, bark, berries, flower, and roots, and or their extracts as active ingredients intended for human therapeutic use or for other benefits in human and sometimes animals. Herbal medicine is a special and prominent form of traditional medicine, in which the traditional healer, in this case known as the herbalist, specializes in the use of herbs in the treatment of various ailments. Their role is so remarkable since it arises from a thorough knowledge of the medical properties of indigenous plants and the pharmaceutical steps necessary in turning such plants into drugs, such as selection, compounding, dosage, efficacy, and toxicity. The use of herbal medicine appears to be universal in different cultures. However, the plant used for the same ailment and the mode of treatment may vary from place to place. The plants used for medicinal purposes are generally referred to as medicinal plants, i.e., any plant which has one or more of its organs or parts contain substances that can be used for therapeutic purposes, or in a more modern concept, a constituent can be used as a precursor for synthetic drugs. If you take an example, a number of plants have been used in traditional medicine for many years without scientific data to back up their efficacy.
Recording in progress.
But in this case, these plants, whole or part, which have medicinal properties, are referred to as food drugs of natural or biological origins. They may further be classified as organized drugs if such drugs are from plant parts with cellular structures, such as leaf, bark, roots, etc. And unorganized drugs if they are obtained from acellular portions of plants, such as gum, balsam, gels, oils, and exudates. We take a look at the details of plant parts used in herbal medicine. My intention here is to go from the bottom as we raise up to the top, so that we can all have a very clear idea of what we are looking at. What are the parts that are used? The first one we all know is roots. Roots are fleshy or woody or woody, many African plant species. These are used as medicine, or that are used as medicines. Most of the active ingredients are usually, embedded in the root bark rather than the woody inner parts. Then we have the bulbs, which are underground structures made up of numerous leafy or fleshy scales, like alum, sativa, garlic, and onions. We have the rhizomes, we have the tubers, we have the bark, we have the leaves, stem, and flowers of many plants. These are also used as medicines. We have the fruits and the seeds, and they contain high active pharmaceuticals, phytochemistry, and essential oils. We also have the gums, exudates, and nectars, which are secreted by plants, to deter insects and grazing animals and to seal off wounds. They are also very useful in the pharmaceutical industries. Let's look at the methods of preparation and dosage forms. Methods of preparation of herbal medicine may vary according to place and culture. The plant material may be used fresh or dry. With experience, a particular method is chosen to increase efficacy and decrease toxicity. Generally, different methods of preparations are involved, and this includes extraction, infusions, decoctions, tinctures, ashing, miscellaneous may include external applications in liquid form, semi-liquid, or oily forms containing the active substances. Lotions, which are liquid preparations intended for the skin, for skin applications. And then we have snuff as powder that I'm sure we are used to in this part of Nigeria. There are also different methods of administration. Apart from the common routes such as oral, rectal, topical, or nasal, other methods include smoking the crudely prepared cigar containing dried plant samples, or by passive inhalation. Others are steaming and inhaling the volatile oil extracts from the boiling plant material, just as we have when we are covering our book, the malaria concoctions that we put together. This can be used to relieve congestions, headache, and other forms of ailments. Let's look at the range of African traditional medicine. African traditional medicine involves collecting, conserving, utilizing, and the application of medicinal plants for cure, prevention, and promotion of physical and spiritual well-being of citizens. The practitioners of this mode of health system are Christian herbal healers. The trained herbalist is capable of identifying different herbs from one to another. It has the capacity to say, this is this particular plant used for this is this particular plant used for this. Traditional medicine can therefore be seen as a traditional medicine can therefore be seen as the totality of the practice, measures, ingredients, and procedures of all kinds, which enables Africans to guide against diseases, alleviate suffering, and to cure themselves. It is the main source of healthcare in African grassroots, especially in the villages, where a considerable percentage of people live. In Africa, medicinal plants, also called, we've taken that, plants have been of primary source of the medicine of the world. Okay, let's jump that and let's quickly go on to, I want to bring out something in that. Can we go back a little bit? Let's take the one before this. Now, plant is a primary source of most medicines in the world, and they continue to provide all the remedies that we need or that we are used to. If we take an example of Nigeria, Nigeria is so rich in medicinal plant resources. A country that has so much of fruits, herbs, vegetables, is expected to have the richest people or the healthiest people on earth. But what do we find? Is that what is obtainable? That's because we have not been able to harness all our resources and utilize them properly. We also could have become a leader in the field of drug discovery. We have so much grounds to cover, and we pray that such activities that we have now will be a source for the government to have an idea and to have understanding that Nigeria is so rich and so blessed with so much of our resources that need to be tapped. Africa is a home to extensive and diverse medicinal plant life. This includes the commonly used herbs, ribos, or the devil's claws, the agasoma, Podliana, then the Cape aloe, and then the Odiago. Let's leave those big names so that you can flow with it. These plants or herb-based treatment have been a key in different continents, in different parts of the continent. And it has been practiced over thousands of years. Up to 80% of the people in these areas of Africa consult and use these plants. In some areas, traditional treatments are the main and only treatment because they are accessible, they are affordable, and they are culturally acceptable. Numerous traditional African medicines are undeniably beneficial in treating diseases or maintaining good health. Some have been the source of many prescribed or prescription medicine. But there are challenges. These include the fact that many consumers automatically assume that being natural means safe. Another problem arises when people use traditional or herbal remedies together with prescribed drugs. African Traditional Medicine Program. Traditional medicine
Recording in progress.
have given us many useful synthetic clues for modern drugs in the past. We are going to look at table 1. Most of these plant-derived drugs were originally discovered through the study of plants or through the study of herbal cures and folk knowledge of traditional people. And from this, and some of these could be substituted. That's the enormous advancement in synthetic chemistry. No, that's not the idea. The idea is that some of these drugs that have been formulated cannot be substituted. I think Professor Ewu also mentioned that. Just like we have Artemisia annua, where we get the popular artemisinin, it's plant-based. It cannot be substituted. And some of the other plants that I'm going to show you in a short while. A lot of traditional medicine have been reported with their different ethnomedicine